Living life outside, need to do more than just survive. Gather with people who know on Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show. Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show. Keep the adventures alive.
Tonight's episode of Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show is brought to you by Kid Products, stick stoves and reflector ovens proudly made in Canada. Algonquin Outfitters, with 5 key locations in and around Algonquin Park to serve your backcountry needs. Salis Marine, keeping you safe on the water since 1999. Ostrom Outdoors, custom fit canoe packs and barrel harnesses. Badger Paddles, handcrafted canoe paddles made to order. And Novacraft Canoes, connecting you with nature in Canadian-made canoes since 1970. Well, hello and happy Tuesday, and welcome back to another episode of Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show, a show that's going to bring you a lot closer to the great outdoors. My name is Dennis, also known as Canoehound, and if this is your first time joining us tonight, thanks very much. Hopefully we can make you a subscriber and a believer and a regular visitor to our show. We got a great show lined up for you tonight. Great guest waiting for us in the basement here, and a great topic to actually talk about. Really looking forward to this one. For anybody that may be watching, or this may be your first time, we are live here every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m., or for the most part, every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. But for playback, you can watch anytime through our past episodes playlist, or you can also listen in your vehicle on YouTube Music if you like. There as a podcast. It just makes it a lot simpler. If you don't have time to sit in front of a computer, you can listen on the go. Let's see here. If you happen to miss last week's show, you missed a good show. I've been saying it for the last few weeks that we are into show season, trade show season. There's a lot of great outdoor shows coming up, and one is coming up this coming weekend in Toronto. If you happen to be in, central or southern Ontario, or who knows, maybe you're in northern Ontario and you're looking to attend a really good event, the Toronto Outdoor Adventure Show is happening on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the International Center in Toronto. There's going to be lots of great things to see and do there, all kinds of activities, all kinds of planning to do. If scuba is your thing, they got something. If mountain biking is your thing, they have something. If canoeing or hiking or backpacking or outdoor backcountry camping is your thing, they have that as well. There's also a lot of great seminars that are going to be happening, presentations by YouTubers and professionals in their fields, and it's certainly worth going and checking it out. Going to be some really good things. I personally will be there Saturday and Sunday. If you happen to be at the show on either one of them days, make sure you come over and say hello. If you see me there, introduce yourself. It's always nice to put a face to the people that I see in the chat over there. So I really look forward to meeting you all. And you know what? I probably got a couple of Canoehound stickers for you as well if you do pop over to say hi. I'll also be presenting too on Saturday at 3:30 on the Adventures in Paddling stage. Make sure you put that in your little calendar of events to do at the show if you happen to come on out. I'll be presenting on One Off the Bucket List, a Wabakimi experience, talking about my big Wabakimi canoe trip last year, some of the things that I seen and did, and it's hopefully it's going to be an enjoyable presentation for all of you. Last week on the show, we did have the organizers of the Toronto Outdoor Adventure Show on to tell us all about it. And we did a giveaway, a prize giveaway. And I just want to congratulate the winners who won a pair of tickets each for entry to the show this weekend. We had Jeff McCullough, Joe Burley, Walt Berg, Jonathan Bender, and Jay Cookson. Congratulations to all of you. And I just realized that's like four of you with the first letter J in your name. So congratulations to all of you. I hope to see you all at the show. come on out, enjoy yourself, and bring your wallet or your credit card because you're probably going to need it with all the gear that's going to be on sale or for sale there. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. Let's see here. Let's get a page ahead. Just really quick, as usual, I like to do my my channel member shout outs. We'll get that just drifting across the bottom of the screen. And if any of you are interested in becoming a channel member for any perks and benefits, get your Canoehound Adventures decals and things like that, please do feel free to become a member. You just click the button down around there somewhere. You'll see a join button and feel free to join. Or you can wait until our Carrying Santa Claus giveaway guy is always in the chat, and he's always giving away complimentary memberships. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, if you're interested in supporting the channel in any way, shape, or form, that's actually a great way. That way there, or through Buy Me a Coffee. Just want to say we did have a couple of coffee contributions this week. We have Beauty of the Backcountry and Tim and Pamela over at Super Good Camping just sent one through as well. So let's take a dip, everybody. Excellent. Okay. We do have some birthday wishes this week while our members float across the bottom of the screen. Linda Barron, a regular watcher on the show. That's Lipstick Lodge in the chat. It's Linda's birthday. She just celebrated. So wish her a happy birthday with a bunch of birthday cake emojis or something like that. PJ Justison from Friends of Temagami, he's celebrating a birthday this week. Matt Hahn, he was one of the fellows behind producing Mark in the Park, the series that was aired on TV and on YouTube and stuff like that. Matt Hahn celebrating a birthday. And then last but not least, this is a special birthday wish that goes out to a friend that we lost a few months back. Many of you probably remember, I kind of got a little choked up about it. My good friend Stein North, he was behind me, one of the encouraging people behind me starting this actual show. He was a good YouTube friend. Never had a chance to meet the fella, but he was a really sincere guy. He lost his battle to cancer there a few months back, and it's his birthday. He just celebrated a birthday. So, Stein North, miss you, buddy. Miss you. Okay, let's see here. If anybody has a special event coming up and they would like to share it with the world or at least the Canoehound community, please just drop me an email right here at canoehound@gmail.com. To those of you that do send through birthday wishes and stuff, for the most part, I find them all on Facebook, right? But I don't know everybody's birthdays and special events and stuff like that. But if you have one coming up, or you know somebody that's got one coming up, please do drop it right there to that email address. I'll make sure I get it up here. And then if you have any hot topics or guests that you'd like to see on the show, by all means, please help Canoehound to find more guests and more topics. As you know, I like to learn a little more. And as a matter of fact, 10 minutes ago in the green room, I was asked by our guest what my motivation is and what it is about wanting to do this show. And I told him flat out, I said, you know what, to me, it's an experience. I'm an average Joe who gets to talk to some really cool people. I get to learn some really cool things. And for something that I enjoy so much, being outdoors, canoeing, backpacking, hiking, backcountry camping, whatever it is, I have a passion for it. And to learn more about it and to meet some fantastic people and make some great friends, that's what keeps me motivated to do this. So thank you to everybody for keeping the motivation alive, right? That's always a good thing in my books. Anyways, without further ado, we will be doing a swag giveaway tonight. So make sure you stick around till after 8 o'clock, the 8 o'clock break. And you'll have a chance to win a great prize that is being donated by tonight's guest. And speaking of tonight's guest, let's get right into the meat and potatoes of the show, because that's what you're all here to see. You're not here to listen to me banter on and on and on. Tonight, we're joined by Ryan O'Connor, who's the executive director of the Paddler Co-op located at the Palmer Rapids in Ontario. We're going to learn a lot more about the Paddler Co-op. So please welcome Ryan from Paddler Co-op. Hey, Ryan, how you doing, bud? You got your mute button on.
Hello. I'm great, Dennis. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, for sure. You know what? It feels like you and I go way back, because I just watched your Super Good Camping's podcast, and I got to listen and learn more there, and it gave me a little more incentive to think of some more things to ask you and the direction to take this show tonight. So thanks to Tim and Pamela for putting on a great presentation with you. Tonight it's you and I, man.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, that was so great. Shout out to Tim and Pamela. That was really fun, really awesome. And I have to say the same thing. There's something about I don't know, the something in the outdoors, the smell, the spirit, the wavelengths. I'm not sure what it is, but I can feel it kind of connecting us, even though we've only had 10 or 15 minutes here to get to know each other in a face-to-face kind of context. But yeah, I'm stoked. I'm glad that we have we've got the whole evening. This is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? We're going to be meeting this weekend at the Outdoor Adventure Show, so I really look forward to that as well. It's a real meet and greet of everybody that is within this community. It's a great opportunity for people to shake hands or high five or hug or whatever it might be. I'm a hugger myself, but it's a great opportunity for people to connect. Beyond this show, there's like that whole one-on-one personality thing, right? So yeah.
Totally. Yeah, it's such a melting pot. It's such a busy weekend. It's like I feel like I have to come out of hibernation and just like enter this like time warp realm of reconnecting with people that haven't had the chance to see in such a long time, and also new faces, and or people that we've been corresponding with like that for a long time. So I'm super excited. Yeah, we're gonna be down there. We'll be right by the pool, by the way.
Cool.
Nested into the Frontenac Outfitters booth. If you're looking at the thing and you can't find us, go find Frontenac Outfitters, and you'll see us in the corner.
So you'll be over with Zach there, Frontenac. Cool.
Yeah, Frontenac Zach.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, so let's start with a little bit about you, and then we'll get right into Paddler Co-op because there's so much that Paddler Co-op offers. Who is Ryan? Why do you have a passion for whitewater paddling or paddle sports in general? What makes you tick, man?
Right on. Yeah. So I'm Ryan O'Connor. I am the youngest of 7 kids, and I grew up in Montreal, Quebec. And my dad was in the military. My mom grew up on a farm in the Madawaska Valley, just upriver from Palmer Rapids. And they both had lives that brought them to the outdoors. And so even though we were growing up in the city, in the suburbs, we were in the outdoors all the time. So I went on my first canoe trip as a 6-year-old down the Coulanges River. And I mostly spent the time sleeping, between the seats of my parents' canoe with my head on the gunnels. But I think that gave me a love for the outdoors. And there were so many things that we did. Winter camping, sports, we had a hockey rink in the backyard. And I got into snowboarding. I got into mountain biking. I just basically loved spending time outside. But before we did that canoe trip, we actually came up. My family came to the co-op way back. I don't even know what year it was. It was maybe like the early 2000s or something like that. And took a course. And I remember like sitting on the rock up at Palmer Rapids, Piano Rock at Jessup Chute, and jumping into the water and floating down and just doing circuits. I don't remember anything about learning canoeing. I just remember swimming in the rapids. And that was something that stuck with me. But I didn't really get the chance to do it beyond that family camping trip. So, I played a lot of team sports growing up. I played a lot of, or did a lot of sort of outdoor activities with my family. We would go hiking. We would, go paddling, all this kind of stuff, camping, whatever. And when I was finally in Cégep, like kind of college in Quebec, I got the chance to do like an intro to outdoor ed gym course. And so we did canoe camping, orienteering, rock climbing, and whitewater kayaking in the pool. And that was it, man. I was like down the science career path, and I stuck through and finished my schooling. But as soon as I got a taste for the outdoors, it was like, oh yeah, I've got to feed this fire. So yeah, so loved, like went on a sweet canoe camping trip down to Fish Creek, New York. That was super awesome. Was really inspired by the guides that we had there. And then got to learn some of the basics of whitewater kayaking in the pool. That was super cool. And got exposed to rock climbing, which I still love, but it didn't really kind of take off in the same way that paddling did for me. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of always, as like the youngest of 7, had the opportunity to be inspired, I guess, by my older siblings and sort of look up to them. And they were all, incredible athletes or talented musicians or, whatever it was. So I was like, man, I got a lot of cool role models. And I think that kind of gave me the spirit to be like, well, the sky's the limit. Like, if they can do it, I can do it, kind of thing.
Mhm.
And maybe a little bit of that competitive edge too, you know. you got to carve a niche out for yourself. Yeah. So when I finished school, actually, I was working on my uncle's farm in Cumbermere, in Palmer, or near Palmer Rapids, and during the summers. And I actually reached out to some extended family of mine who I knew were involved with the co-op, and I asked them if they would take me kayaking because I learned how to roll. And they did. And I remember going down at Palmer in the summertime. There's like no water, but it was awesome and it was warm. And I got like a feeling of a surf at the bottom. And that was just, it was a game changer. That was like the hook was set. And I was, I just kind of like, it's one of those, I don't know, sort of larger than self moments when you kind of realize the awe of the moment and the forces that are at play, and the sense that you're in your body doing something, but you're experiencing something that's much larger than yourself and the physicality of what's happening. And that, I think, was the sensation that kept me going. So I bought a kayak and started surfing. And yeah.
Let me ask you this, and this is right along what you're talking about here now. I know a few people that have taken your courses. I believe one, Tosh Self-Propelled. I believe
Yes.
Tosh took your
Yep.
or one of your courses.
Mhm.
Guys like Evan Lefebvre, I believe Ben Beauchamp was
Mhm.
and I hear these guys talking now about, where they were first intimidated by whitewater and now they just crave it. What is it about whitewater that it takes a whitewater shy person and then turns them into a whitewater monster?
That's a good question. I think that's the secret sauce, to be honest with you, Dennis. And I think there's a few. It's not like one thing. I think what it is there. As an individual, you need to have a willingness to step out of your comfort zone. You need to be willing to challenge yourself. You need to be willing to sort of move beyond your limiting beliefs and really get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's the first thing. But on my end, so like having been teaching now for, this will be my 12th season, so 11 years under my belt, and I make a living doing it. So it's, it's the thing that I love to do. It's this thing that I do when I'm not teaching.
Right.
And it's a thing that I do, to pay the bills. But what I've learned is that there's a setting that is somewhat ideal to allow people to be comfortable stepping out of their comfort zone. And that starts with safety, and safety in so many different respects. It's sort of a social and psychological safety component in providing people with the right amount of information and sort of hearing their concerns out before the experience, understanding what their motivations and goals are, understanding what their fears are and their challenges. At the end of the day, what they're hoping to do in terms of their physical progression, but also why, in terms of their kind of mental and personal progression, they decided to take training. And then also on the water, making sure that we're slowly getting to that like stretch zone, the sweet spot outside of the comfort zone, and then retreating a little bit and getting a taste for being further out there, but then building confidence and skills and kind of repeating that cycle. And then when that can be paired with optimal conditions and the right sort of setting and the right person who's primed for it, it's just like game over.
Wow. Yeah. I was so disappointed last year. Riley outside, she put together a big group of people to come down and do some whitewater training. And I'll tell you, I really wanted to go, but it just fell at 100% the wrong time. So I'm hoping this summer I could pull the cord and I could actually get down there and get some of this, because I mentioned earlier, I've got like almost 40 years of paddling experience, but my whitewater paddling, it's I need training. I need training. I need you to get me outside of that comfort zone and get out there and have some fun, whether it's for like solo paddling or for tandem paddling. So yeah, we'll be down to see you for sure this year.
Absolutely.
Tell us about Paddlers Co-op. What exactly is it? And then maybe we'll get into talking about some of your offerings that you offer there, and we'll get right into it all.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So we're a member-owned whitewater paddling community, and we offer. Our mission is to build a stronger paddling community. We operate as a not-for-profit organization, and the way we build a stronger paddling community is by providing high-quality training, trips, river access, recreation, rentals, kids camps, sort of a whole comprehensive package to help facilitate getting people into the outdoors. And that's awesome. I just see a comment from David Laidlaw. Nice, man. Glad that you were hooked.
I do that from time to time. I'll pop things up, so don't be alarmed by
Okay,
it.
nice. Sorry, I'm getting distracted.
Sorry.
Yeah, and so, on the surface, what people might see us as is a paddling school. But much more than that, we are a means to provide and foster an environment of inclusive and accessible whitewater education, safety, training, a gathering place, a knowledge hub, sort of a cultural space where we can share our talents and skills and ideas with each other. And we're physically located on the Madawaska River in Palmer Rapids, just downstream from Palmer Rapids themselves, which is like probably the most popular training ground in Canada for whitewater paddling, certainly for beginner whitewater paddling. There's thousands and thousands of people who come down the Mad each year, and it's because it's got warm water. It's got water year round, all summer long. There's a minimum release that we can still paddle at, which is super unique. And we've got access. We've got places where you can park and get boats and camp and, drink good water and all that kind of stuff right by there. Yeah.
So the Paddler Co-op, you say it's a member owned or member run. You can buy a membership to the Paddler Co-op, or does the membership come through taking a course?
Yeah, so bit of both. So it's a cooperative, which means that there's no owner. There's no like one, person who owns the business and, sets the budget and all that kind of stuff. We're composed of our membership. It's sort of the inverse of like an empirical structure. And that's kind of why we started, was like, rather than, serving this classic like pyramid of the customers, then staff, and then managers, and then, eventually the owner, everything's funneling up there. It sort of subverted that and put it on its head and says, hey, we're going to be for the people, by the people. And so we're governed by a volunteer board of directors that's made up of our membership. So people pay $16 and you got to renew it annually to buy a membership. It used to cost $5 in 97 when way back when we were founded. And you then are entitled the right to vote. And typically what we vote on is electing our board of directors who oversee and govern the organization. So I'm part of the board of directors. I am an executive director, which means that I execute the mission. So we decide sort of the collective vision of where the organization's going. And then I am sort of the general manager of the organization. So I'll make sure that vision gets rolled out and that the operation can run successfully and meet the needs of our members. And so then I oversee a staff team of some super duper awesome, amazing folks and volunteers that help make the magic happen. And so all the profits get reinvested back into the co-op.
You said since what year was it founded, or what year did Paddler Co-op start?
It was founded in 1997.
Okay, so geez, you're 20, almost 30 years. That's
almost crazy. 30 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
why
quite.
have I not heard about this? We got to spread the word, people.
We got to spread the word, man.
Yeah. Now you don't have the river all to yourself. There are a couple of other places that operate businesses on the Madawaska as well, right?
There are different businesses that operate on the Mad for sure. So higher upstream, MKC, the Madawaska Canoe Center, on the middle section of the Madawaska, so like upriver, a dam and a lake, and then upstream from there. They run a paddling resort, sort of a much more comprehensive, a lot more off-river services, let's say. and a price tag to match along with it.
Right.
And then downstream there are some rental outfitters as well. So at the very bottom there's Don Adams, who just runs a rental and shuttle outfit down in Griffith. And there used to be in Quadville Mad River Rentals. It's now moved to Brudenell and is less busy and getting after it, I guess, than they were in previous years.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's talk about what Paddler Co-op has to offer somebody like myself who wants to come out. You have different packages available. Let's go through the whole brochure, man. Let's find out what we got.
I love it. Well, this is what I'll always ask, Dennis, is why don't you tell me sort of what your experience is and where you're hoping to go? Because if I'm doing my job right, I have to listen first, and then I'll be able to understand sort of, how we can match you with what we've got. So tell me a little bit about your paddling experience and tell me a little bit about why you want to get into whitewater.
Okay, flat water and swifts are not a problem. My biggest whitewater experience is watching guys like Jim Baird and these guys like Evan Lefebvre and Tosh and different people like that. But
Nice.
I have done some whitewater stuff. It hasn't been with the best results in some cases. Where you tell your partner to draw right and he draws left and takes you right into a rock and almost pins you or something like that, right? But to me, it's the team building thing of probably having a partner in the canoe with me and getting us through the rapids, not on the rapids, or in the rapids.
Yeah. Awesome. And hey, it's all guaranteed to happen at one point or another. It's just a matter of time. But
you know what? I'm not afraid to get wet. So
we're just trying to, increase the odds of a successful run.
Sure.
So for someone like you who, like I'm hearing, has a lot of lake just sort of tripping experience, like you say, some experience in swifts and that sort of thing. We've got basically a few different offerings for the experienced paddler, but non-experienced whitewater paddler, or people who haven't been trained. So for someone like yourself, I would recommend an intro course, a 2-day whitewater canoe course, where you would have the opportunity to learn the specific skills for maneuvering your boat, the language to communicate effectively with your group, and also with the instructor to sort of understand what the terminology, what people are talking about. You'll understand the safety principles as far as how you can stay safe when you're in your boat, when you're out of your boat, when you're working together as a group, or in the event of an emergency, what you can do to either help or not make things worse. You'll also learn how to look at a set of rapids and understand where the safe places are, where the not so safe places are, and in a perfect world, be able to put all those skills together to be able to then execute a safe and successful line as you go downstream, or adapt and adjust accordingly if you're not hitting, the desired line in a perfect world that you're trying to get down. And that's in class 1 and class 2 whitewater. So we're talking introductory level and kind of novice level whitewater, nothing super challenging or consequential, but where you'll learn to be able to move the boat around, get around the river in a way that you're not just muscling the whole time, but you're actually letting the river do some of the work. And then also the sweet spot is how to have fun, how to be at first, get comfortable being uncomfortable, but in a perfect world, stack the variables in your favor so that you can just enjoy the giggle fest that is bombing down rapids. And, when inevitably those waves hit you, or you might tip over, or you might, hit a line or rock that you weren't expecting to, and it not to be the end of the world, but something that we can kind of celebrate and laugh at and carry on, because we're still safe out there, and we're approaching it with the right mindset.
You want to get the woohoo out of the person, right?
That's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm all about that. That's what I want. I want the woohoo.
We always say we want to have safe courses. We want to have fun courses, and no matter what, people are going to learn something. But the education, comes after that. If you set the scene with safety, if you set the scene with a joyous and fun, welcoming experience, then you're gonna learn something, and you're gonna learn some great things as well. So
Okay, so when it comes to that, I'll just keep using me as the example, right?
I
If
love it. I love
if I
it.
come down for the course, what do I expect? When I first get there, first off, where do I stay? If it's a 2-day course, where do I stay?
Totally. So we have all of the basically all of the needs looked after if that's what you want. Our goal is to make paddling accessible. It's to make it affordable. So you can add on or remove as many of these things as you want. You can just come for the course and show up like at 8:45, 8:45, and leave at 4 if you want. But if you're coming up, are you in Toronto? Whereabouts are you, Dennis?
I'm Niagara based. I live in Niagara.
Niagara. Okay, cool. Yeah, so a bit of a drive. So what we would suggest is coming up on the Friday so that you can get some rest before the course. So we've got a campground. It's 2 acres under these massive second growth, like huge, 3.5 foot wide pines right on the river. So you'd come up, you'd kind of pitch your tent, get yourself set up in the campground, meet the other great folks down at the community fire pit. Have a beverage by the water. If you make it up for sunset, the sunsets are awesome. It's super cool down by the dock. Saturday morning, you'd be waking up. People would be cooking their breakfast. You'd start, grilling your things. Maybe pop up to the office for a cup of coffee if, there's too many things on the go and you've only got one burner and you just need that hot cup of joe right away.
Right.
And then at around 8:30, 8:45, people start gathering in front of our boathouse. So we've got a large garage that's sort of an indoor programming classroom space, equipment repair space, and it stores our gear. And that's where we'll all sort of convene for our courses. So on any one day, there could be, kids getting dropped off for our kids camps. There can be groups of scouts or schools coming in to do some special program for them, or other folks like yourself, adults that are just looking to get some training and meet other people and taking a course. You'll meet your instructor. You'll get a whole rundown of the day. You'll get outfitted in the equipment if you need equipment, or you'll be welcome to use your own if it's sort of good to go and you're willing to have a couple bumps and bruises on it. And then you'll go through a familiarization with the gear. So you'll learn sort of how and why the gear looks the way it does, how to sit comfortably in your boat, how to carry your boat, all that kind of stuff. And if you already know that, you'll just kind of breeze through that and make your way down to the water. And then we start paddling right away. So, you park on Friday and you leave on Sunday, and the rest of the time you can do it from your boat, which is really cool. So we paddle up. It's a short warm-up paddle to the rapids, and then we'll spend the morning, as I mentioned, learning how to be safe in and out of our boats, learning how to move our boats around, how to communicate, all that kind of stuff. Come back for lunch or decide to stay up there. Just sort of depends what the group's into. And then you'll spend sort of 6-7 hours on the water over the course of the day. Again, stepping out of your comfort zone, guaranteed to be doing a little bit of swimming, and have fun. And then coming back at the end of the day, our courses wrap up around 4. And at that point, you've got the afternoon to kind of kick your feet up, go out and do some paddling. If you want to keep getting after it, you can practice what you learned throughout the day on your own, or you can just socialize and hang out with folks that are, spending time in the campground and just enjoying themselves. Then, we take it up on day 2 and sort of build off of the skills that we've worked on day 1 and start putting a lot of the pieces together and then combining that in a downriver context. So not only just doing, the one move or the one skill in one spot, but really adding those on as you're sort of continuously making your way down a set of rapids. The aim, again, is to build confidence and competence by the end of the second afternoon. So you know where the safe places are, where the unsafe are, and you recognize sort of what you should and shouldn't be doing, what you can realistically say, yeah, I could probably do that. Or like, I'm not so sure. We want to send people away with confidence and sort of inspiring them to make good decisions for themselves.
Sure. So now me coming in sort of at the beginner phase type of thing, we'll just say that. What's an approximate cost so people can budget for themselves? Like, are we looking thousands of dollars, or what are we looking at?
Yeah, great question. So again, it varies depending on what you need, basically. But if, say, you're a brand new beginner and you don't have any equipment, the courses themselves cost $440 for the 2-day course. So that gets you all of your instruction for the 2 days. And that gets you, a certified professional instructor and everything that you need to be able to, successfully participate in the course. If you need rentals, those are on top of it. So there will be $100 for the canoe, $50 per day. So we're talking then $540. And if you need a PFD, helmet, paddle, etc., it's $21 for the gear kit. So another $42 for the course. So what are we at? $440, $540, $580. And if you're camping, depends if you're in a group or a family or whatever, we've got, different sorts of rates. But give or take, I'm just going to throw a ballpark number out there, about $20 a night for camping. So we're talking $620. And it's all in for the entire weekend. And all you have to do is literally show up.
Wonder if I could write that off somehow. No. That's
It's
cool.
training, man. Hey, if you're in my line of work, you can.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, well, what do they call it? Do they still give a tax credit for staycations?
I don't know if that extended past last year, or maybe it was the year before, 2021.
Any tax people out there in the chat tonight? Let us know if
Yeah,
you
that's
qualify
it. Hey,
for
come on.
staycation. It doesn't matter anyways. I'll still do it.
Yeah.
So, okay. So now that's sort of like the beginners type of thing. What do you have beyond that? What gets offered there? Because it's more than just canoe whitewater paddling. You offer for kayaking. You also offer. I know Steve from Silk 46 did. You did some pack boat courses and. Come on, man, go through that, bro.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, well, two things. I guess the first thing, because you mentioned like affordability and like I recognize that I'm saying $600 like it's kind of nothing, and that's obviously not nothing. That's a lot of money, right? That's something that you want to actually make sure that you're spending wisely. That's something you want to make sure that is going to be valuable. It's something that you want to make sure is going to actually meet your needs. And if that is too high for you, the best move is to come for Palmer River Fest. So we run an amazing festival every spring, the May long weekend, and fall. It's usually the third. It's going to be the fourth weekend in September this year, September 21st. And we offer subsidized clinics. They're a little bit shorter than our full day courses. You're at about 4.5, 5 hours of on water time. But the clinics, to give you an idea, the whole weekend costs like $290 plus rentals if you need them. So, you're already down from $440, and that also includes your camping and everything else. And there's, 100 to 300 people here who are other like-minded, similar skilled, more advanced, less advanced, older, younger paddlers, and a whole bunch of vendors and entertainment. And it's a really great time. So know that if the cost is prohibitive for you, check out Palmer River Fest. It's the most affordable whitewater paddling courses you can take. That'll be super awesome. And to segue in, at Palmer Fest, we not only have tandem canoe, we've got solo canoe in whitewater. We've got kayaks. We've got kids camps going on during the day. We've got pack rafting. And our mission really is to make sure that people can be safe and have fun on the whitewater. And so we offer these courses all at sort of the entry level, but then we also offer some sort of tiered progressions for people to get to where they want to go. So that's why I was asking you earlier, basically, if you're hoping to do tripping, then what I would suggest is you take an intro course, and the next course you take is the River Running Review or the Northern River Running course, which is a 2-day course where you do mostly skills, reminding you how to sort of brush up on your ability to make maneuvers in moving water. But then you take that in a downriver context where you'll go down the lower Madawaska River through the provincial park. There's 12 kilometers worth of class 2-3 rapids, 10 sets of rapids that are all kind of drop pool style. So it's not super continuous, but it's enough of a challenge. Once you sort of graduated from the stuff up at Palmer Rapids, you head down the lower Mad. And at that point, you put your skills to the test in not only a super beautiful and remote setting, but again, with the whole variety of new rapids and new challenges that come along with that. And we've got the Northern River Running that's tailored more towards continuous rivers, potentially bigger volume rivers for folks wanting to go up north and do things like the Nahanni or the Mountain River or, the Keel or the Blood Vein or whatever the case may be. And then we also just have the regular River Running Review course, which is tailored more towards specifically, like, I guess, Ontario rivers, you could say, which are a little bit more drop pool style. which are a little bit different in the way that we would often scout things from shore as opposed to boat scouting or sort of following a lead boat up north where the rapids are much more continuous. Those are just some kind of classic examples of that. On the kayaking side of things, we have kids camps that start at 4-day day camps where it's very introductory level for kids as young as 6 years old, where we teach them to have fun in whitewater, expose them to kayaking. We're not trying to push any specific agenda. We're really trying to meet them at their pace and nudge them ever so gently along in their journey of becoming paddlers while building team sort of unity, social skills, learning how to collaborate and cooperate as a group. And then they can advance to sort of 4-day more intermediate level courses, 5-day intermediate level courses, and then ultimately a 9-day traveling kayak camp where I take the teens that are ready to send it and go on a 9-day road trip through some of Ontario and Quebec's best class 3-4 whitewater runs. We learn how to run waterfalls and do freestyle moves and kayaks and how to film and how to incorporate mindfulness into our practice of being on the water, how to be good stewards, just good people. And of course, cook, clean, live in a van, all that good stuff together. So yeah, there's really something for everybody at all ages.
Yeah. And now for your courses, are they just strictly for kayak or for canoe paddling? Is it strictly 2-day courses, or do you offer like a 4-day course where you're going to bundle 2 together, or 6-day courses or anything like that?
Yeah. So like for starters, we'll do custom courses for folks who have sort of really unique sets of needs. So if there's something that you're not hearing, but you're like, I'd love to do that. Again, our mission is to build a stronger community, and we do that by being flexible. So just reach out if there's anything specific. A lot of what we offer in the sort of beginner and intermediate level are 2-day courses. But outside of 2-day courses, what we have are sort of custom organized 5-day courses where you can come down for a Monday to Friday, bring a group, and we'll spend, a week working on skills, working on developing your comfort, and then also heading to different rivers. We've got a course that's tailored specifically just to that, which is called the Week of Rivers, where folks who already have experience and don't so much want to, learn how to paddle, but they want to improve their abilities and also see new rivers. We'll go to 5 different sections of rivers or 5 different rivers over the course of the week. And the logistics are looked after. You'll have a guide who knows all the lines, who's also going to be able to provide some coaching tips and tricks along the way. And you'll be able to see some places that maybe would have been really, far out of your comfort zone to take on your own without necessarily knowing where you're going or what the run looks like. With somebody who's, always there looking after the safety, there to help with judgment call decisions, there to help with the coaching, little tips and tricks to help you achieve those breakthroughs and help you to step out of that comfort zone a little bit more easily and, with confidence.
Cool. So what is your ratio of students to trained guides?
Good question. Yeah. So our maximum ratio is always no more than 5 student boats to 1 instructor boat. So we're always going to have, say if there's, 6 student boats in the group, then there will be 2 instructors on it. If there's 10 student boats in the group, there'll be 2 instructors on it. Now, of course, in a tandem canoe, there's 2 people in a tandem canoe. So, I guess in that sense, there can be as many as 10 people in a tandem course to 1 instructor. But for, an instructor is only going to be rescuing 5 boats in a perfect world, not at the same time, but
right.
Every now and then things happen.
Cool. I think after the 8 o'clock break, I'd like to talk to you about some of your instructors and some of the qualifications that they have, because I think it's totally it has everything to do with what you guys are offering, right? So, yeah,
absolutely.
Before we get into our commercial break, which is like 15 minutes away, right now the Paddler Co-op is running an initiative. Let's talk about that, because I think we can crush 15 minutes with what you're just getting ready to launch this. I'll let you tell everybody about it. Oh, he's wetting the whistle. This is going to be a good one.
It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. I have to warm it up. Like I'm a musician as well, and before I go on stage, something I learned was to do like vocal warm-ups. This might help you in yours, but like wetting the whistle and doing the the tonal exercises is real helpful.
Me. Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm so glad you asked, Dennis. So we're a community first, and for realistically about 20 years, the co-op was run literally as a non-profit, at a break even or less than that type fashion. And we had been able to offer like incredibly affordable and quality paddling experiences to people of all ages and abilities. And we had a huge focus on our kids camps, and we sort of always have, we still do. But the main idea was like, if we're building community, we want to make sure that the next generation of community members can have access to these skills, to these experiences, all that kind of thing. And fast forward to 2019, and our previous executive director resigned. It was time to retire. They kind of came out of retirement to join the co-op. And I had been instructing for 6 or 7 years at that point. I was actually volunteering on the board of directors as well because I cared so much about this organization. And when they retired, we had basically a hiring round to try to bring on a new executive director. And we weren't able to bring on anybody with success. There just frankly wasn't enough money, and the books didn't look good enough for anybody to, really touch it with confidence. And so my wife and I, now wife, Linda, who is also on the board and also instructing at the co-op at that time, we both had a fair amount of experience, and I was the longest standing staff member at that time. And we decided that we would do sort of a year in between of managing. And when we started to kind of really be responsible for the organization, we realized that the thin margins that were being run were totally, able to offer incredible rates for people to learn how to paddle, but were very challenging to run a business by. And also the pandemic hit, and it was basically the, kryptonite to the co-op. There was basically just no way that we were going to be able to make it through that. I'm going to save that story, but what that led to was this huge realization of, firstly, how important the place was, because we reached out to everybody and said, hey, look, we're not going to make it here. And we think this place is important. And we think you think this place is important. And in order for us to do this, like, we're not getting paid right now, but, we're at the helm of the ship and need to find a way to get through this. And we're kind of out of options. So we just want you to know that. And that was an extremely uncomfortable thing to do. It sucked. It was like the worst ever. And there were a lot of sleepless nights. And, at the board level, we were literally like looking up the laws to educate ourselves on what dissolving a corporation and a cooperative, needs to look like, and who gets paid out the, the debts on how many cents to the dollar kind of thing. But what happened was hundreds of people heard that call. They spread the word, and they started asking, how could they help? And we said, we've got some t-shirts and sweaters. Can you buy that? We've got gift cards. Can you put some money into those things? And then the letters of support and the phone calls and just the motivation kept pouring in. And it was remarkable. We were able to survive this period of just deep debt, pay it off, pay ourselves at the end of the year, and had the most successful season ever, which is like crazy. But that convinced us that this place is essential. It's important. There's people who care about this place. And, beyond us just saying like, oh, whatever, we're a couple dirtbags by the river. At least we can still paddle each day if we can't get paid. So the co-op has basically just been like on this remarkable growth trend since then. And it's no doubt thanks to COVID. It's no doubt thanks to our staff team's ability to respond to the pandemic and, meet the rising needs and figure out the compliance and how to make people feel safe and how to be, professional in this realm that nobody knows how to exist in or operate in yet. And so we're kind of on this rising trend. And as things go, things come in waves, right? So you rise the trend of success. And we then recently learned that the property that we've been renting for sale, this home that we've had since 2003, is for sale. And that was at first a really sort of shocking and devastating reality to consider, because in our minds, there's just no way that we can afford to buy it. Frankly, we operated on these really thin margins. We were able to establish a reserve fund. That's what our members voted for at the annual meeting in 2020, to put money aside for another rainy day, because these things happen. You never think it's going to happen, but it happens. And so we have some money set aside in a reserve fund, but it's not quite enough. It's definitely not enough to buy the place. And so we kind of engaged our membership. We discussed with our board of directors, and wholeheartedly, the decision is that this space is too important to the people we serve, the generations, the families that have been coming through, the camps, the associations, the scouts groups, the local community, the staff, everybody who has worked and had a connection here, to let it go. And so we're at the point where we're learning how to reuse and fire that muscle during the pandemic of asking for help. This place is for sale for $700,000, and we have the right of first refusal to purchase the property. We have $50,000 from our reserve fund that we can commit to putting into this purchase, while still retaining a reserve fund for when that rainy day does come. And we need to fundraise to get to our minimum threshold in order to be able to afford a mortgage on this property. And we've fortunately been able to do our due diligence. We got an appraisal. It's fair market value. It's arguably better than fair market value for 2 acres on the river. And we can get financing for this, which is amazing. If we meet the minimum requirements, our budget is essentially going to have to double as far as what we pay in rent each year for our mortgage. So we're looking to raise $250,000 to make sure that we can not only secure the programs and the space and have a platform from which to improve upon, but more importantly, that everybody who comes to Palmer Rapids and paddles on the Madawaska River will forever have a home by paddlers for paddlers, and a way to park their car, get their boat in the water, meet up with friends, go camping, that sort of thing. And we're ready to do whatever it takes to get there, basically, and to make sure that paddling and the programming that we offer is accessible for future generations to come.
So the initiative that you're launching then in efforts of raising $250,000, what measures are you going to be taking? What are you going to be doing to try to raise these funds?
Dividing and conquering. I love it. So yeah, I mean, we're creative, right? We're a co-op. Our strength is our people, and our people have diverse opinions and backgrounds and skills. And that's the best part about it. So we are focusing on grant funding, and we're applying for every single grant that we're eligible for right now. And we also need help. If you know how to write grants and care about preserving access in the whitewater and in the wilderness community in general, please get in touch.
Hold on. This is a call out to our membership over there, our people that are in the chat. If anybody knows how to do this and they're willing to donate a bit of time, reach out to Ryan.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
The other thing we're doing is we are partnering with brands. So corporate sponsors, corporate partnerships. So you were talking about Zach at Frontenac Outfitters earlier. Zach has been a tremendous ally to the co-op and proponent of the paddling community. And he's committed in doing whatever it takes to help us get there. So he's going to be contributing cash. He's going to be contributing in-kind product, marketing support, all of that kind of thing. NRS, the whitewater manufacturer, they make life jackets, they make wetsuits, they make all types of paddling gear. They're also going to be coming on as a sponsor. We've got a number of different other sponsorship opportunities that we're working with, not only at sort of larger brand levels, but more personal community levels. So we're talking camps, clubs, associations. If anybody can help us to get there, we are willing to do, more than the same in return. Obviously, we're trying to raise cash, so, we need to be able to provide value in other ways, but the marketing exposure, the long-term partnerships, the longevity and future potential of getting the next generation of paddlers and many generations of paddlers into the sport is where our sights are focused on now. We've got this looming horizon. It has to happen by this summer. We've got this looming horizon on our short-term radar, but we're looking 3, 5, 10, 20 years down the line and saying, where do we want to get to once we have a permanent home? And in addition to that, we're also doing a crowd fundraiser. So we're asking for donations from, people like yourself, people like your viewers, people who have come to the co-op and realized that this place holds something special and a little piece of their heart and a home away from home for them. We've got 6 amazing donation levels that we've set up that we are actually launching live tonight to,
I didn't know that. This is a surprise to me. It really is.
It's happening. It's happening. Yeah. We've been busting our butts. We've got an amazing little sort of core steering committee set up, and we've now actually put out the call earlier today to bring in more people because we've got a form, we've got a structure, we are fired up to get to work and find a way to make this happen. And with the number of people, I just saw an awesome comment from Zach there. The co-op is a magical place. Right on, buddy. It sure is. Yeah, we know what's happening here is special. And to give you an idea, we have 1,000 engaged members in our mailing list. And I know that's not a lot, but like you say, Dennis, this you can't believe why you haven't heard of this place. It's the best thing going. There's the link. Check that link out.
I knew it was coming. I didn't know it was coming, but I knew it was coming. And believe me, people in the chat, a lot of this is new to me too, and I'm so glad I'm learning this. Like I'm feeling very excited about learning about all this stuff. So
nice, man. Yeah. So if we've got donation. First off, you can donate whatever. You don't have to hit one of the levels in order for it to work. But to give you an idea, for $100 to $3,500, we've got levels with amazing prizes that are going to not only allow you to be recognized as you're going to be on the plaque. And if you give a big one, you'll be on a bigger plaque of saying, I committed to building community in Palmer Rapids and securing a permanent access on the Madawaska River. But there's some incredible kickbacks and perks there. You'll get free memberships. You'll get discounts off courses. You'll get discounts with brand partners. We're doing something revolutionary, which is seasonal boat leasing. So we'll set you up with a full paddling kit, helmet, paddle, PFD skirt, boat for the season. So we've got one happening for the spring season, for the summer season as well. And yeah, just some ways of us saying thank you. And if there's 1,000 people that engage with our content online, if each one of them that comes up from the Greater Toronto area comes to spend a weekend at the co-op, which people do for many times a summer, you're spending about, $100 to $200 in gas, depending on how big of a vehicle you have. You're spending, $40 to $80 in food, more if you're going to a restaurant. You're spending, $20 to $50 in booze if you're buying that kind of stuff. You're probably buying some munchies on the way up. You're probably buying a t-shirt maybe or something like that, or a candy bar, whatever the case may be. That easily adds up to $250. So if every person contributed $250, this would be done like that. And I know there will be people that will give more than that. I know there will be people that can't give that. But every little bit counts. And we're asking everybody to chip in a way that feels good and right to them. And if you want to reach out before chipping in, we would love to hear from you. We would absolutely love to hear from you. You can give us a call in the office or send me an email, ryan@paddlercoop.ca, and we can find a way to make it worthwhile. And if you happen to be a decision maker for a larger brand or organization that wants to be involved and recognized in a major way, please reach out, because we're looking for larger sponsors and contributors to continue helping us make this goal happen. We are confident it's going to happen, but it is going to take each and every one of us to step up and find a way to contribute.
That's awesome. Well, so here's the link if you want more information on it, everybody. Please do. It's also in the description below. I'm just going to drop this down from screen now because it is also in the description below. That's cool. So like I say, I wasn't privy to all this. I knew that there was an initiative that was being launched. I was just under the pretenses that it was to purchase the property that you are currently located at. But it goes obviously far beyond that. So that's great. And you know what? If there's one thing I've learned through 5 seasons of doing this show, and I hear it from everybody, is that the community that gets built, whether it's Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show or whether it's the Paddler Co-op community, community means something to people, right? So if it means something to you as a viewer out there, or of a past user, or somebody who wants to utilize Paddler Co-op in the future, you know what? I think it's a great initiative to look into, at least look into it, and if it's within your heart to help make things happen, by all means, please do so. Yeah, that's cool. Ryan, we do have to take a quick little commercial break here. Great chance for you to offload a drink or maybe unload a new one or whatever it might be. But we'll bring you back after the break here. You have a great giveaway that you have kindly offered. So everybody stick around for that there. The question that we'll be asking tonight, the answer has been given through or at one point in this show. So we'll get on. And then I know there's some people out there that have the link to join us here for the second half to maybe tell us a little bit about your experiences with Paddler Co-op, what you got out of it, what you think it offers to the community and such. And I will also post a link that if anybody out there that is interested in coming up and joining and telling us what they've experienced at Paddler Co-op, I would love to hear it. I really would. And I'm sure Ryan would as well. So we'll see you all in a brief moment. If I can find my link. There it is.
There's nothing like being out there. For over 50 years, we've been connecting people with nature by building classic Canadian canoe designs using the best materials available. We built a reputation on durable, dependable canoes that allow you to focus on what's important, whether that's unplugging in remote wilderness, spending quality time with your favorite people, or nailing the perfect line. Visit novacraft.com to find the perfect canoe for you and locate your nearest authorized dealer.
Tonight's episode of Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show is brought to you by Kid Products, stick stoves and reflector ovens proudly made in Canada. Algonquin Outfitters, with 5 key locations in and around Algonquin Park to serve your backcountry needs. Salis Marine, keeping you safe on the water since 1999. Ostrom Outdoors, custom fit canoe packs and barrel harnesses. Badger Paddles, handcrafted canoe paddles made to order. And Novacraft Canoes, connecting you with nature in Canadian-made canoes since 1970. And welcome back to the second half of Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show with tonight's guest, Ryan O'Connor from the Paddler Co-op. Let's bring Ryan back up because we have a great giveaway that we're going to be doing here. And let's see what we have to go. Ryan, welcome back.
Hello. I'm getting lit up here by tons of support. I am so grateful to everybody for the stoke. There's a buzz going on, and it's awesome.
We get the best community here, don't we? I'll tell you.
Heck yeah, we do. Yeah, we are privileged and blessed for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I understand you got a great swag giveaway prize to win to a lucky winner tonight.
We sure do. We sure do. For starters, we've got some awesome hats designed from our 25th anniversary by none other than member Beth Leonard. So we've got a 25th anniversary hat because you're going to need to keep the sun off when you come in the summer for a free 2-day moving water canoe or kayak course of your choice, all expenses paid and included at the co-op. We're talking rentals, we're talking campground, we're talking instruction, we're talking good times, good vibes, and of course, tons of stoke and community spirit to go along with that.
That's pretty. What's that worth?
It's well, I guess we calculated it earlier.
$100 million, right?
Endless.
Cool. You don't even have to say, because that's a fantastic prize. I'm just going to let somebody else take the helm here because I want a chance at this. No, in all fairness, one lucky person out there is going to be the winner. Now, we're going to do this like we always do it. I'm going to post a question, and I'm just looking for this here because please do not put the answer in the chat over there. Do not put the answer in there. We want everybody to win this. I want to see who's been paying attention. But tonight's question is, and I didn't even type it in here. Let me type it in really quick. What year? Spelling errors. Was Paddler Co-op founded? Short form. What year was Paddler Co-op founded? How's that? Sound good? Do not put the answer in the chat over there. If you know the answer of what year Paddler Co-op was founded, please drop me an email. And that my date's not even right. This whole prize giveaway come up last minute, but you'll have until this Saturday or this Friday. Sorry, let's do Friday at midnight. If it comes in Saturday, whatever. Shoot me your email, me your answer.
So you operate the same way we do.
Okay. Let's get that. What year was Paddler Co-op founded? And you'll have until midnight this coming Saturday. To get your answer in. At that time, I will do a random draw using Google random number selector with the number associated with the correct answered emails, and it'll work out anyways. I'll notify the winner. I'll get you in contact with Ryan there, and everything will work out. So, what year was the Paddler Co-op founded? You have until Saturday midnight to get your answers in. Oh, there we go. That was easy, wasn't it?
Well done. I couldn't have done it better.
All right. Okay, so we've been talking. We do have a couple people in the basement here that I want to bring up here to talk a bit about, but I wanted to ask before we get to them about your instructors at Paddler Co-op. Tell us about some of your instructors, some of the experience they have, some of the certifications that they bring with them, because you're not just taking people off the street saying, hey, you could paddle whitewater, you're in, right?
No, totally. So yeah, really, I mean, it all happens, it starts and stops with the team. Basically, as a people first community-based organization, our instructors and our staff are the superstars of the whole operation. So when it comes to on-water instruction, we have a pretty rigorous process of either a shadow and mentorship stream or a certification and experience that you then bring in stream. So, we'll bring new instructors up and into the industry, or we'll also work with existing experienced instructors in the industry. But there's a few things in common that everybody has. So they have a technician level whitewater rescue or swiftwater rescue course, which means basically they've spent something to the tune of 40 to 60 hours working on river rescue, swimming, throw ropes, anchor building, boat rescue, and body transport in moving water for when inevitably something goes wrong, or to make judgment calls to prevent things from going wrong. They also have a certification in Wilderness Advanced First Aid, which is a 40-hour wilderness first aid course. Or if we're doing sort of river trips in remote areas, Wilderness First Responder, which is an 80-hour comprehensive course, essentially a first aid to be able to survive until you can get to definitive care, which might be, days away if you're in the field. And then they also have a instructor certification. So depending on if we're talking moving water canoeing, moving water kayaking, there's different levels of instructor certification. And that would sort of pertain to more if you're in an advanced course, an intermediate course, or a beginner course. You would have an instructor of different level. But essentially, they're learning how to teach effectively, to be able to communicate ideas and concepts in a logical manner and following the set curriculum, and also how to demonstrate the skills competently. So in addition to that, we look for great people. We look for people who are awesome, who we like to not just spend time with, but see as valuable influences on the water. We value diversity. And if, we don't necessarily agree, but we can recognize that the skills and capabilities in a person are amazing and that they can meet the needs of students, then we want them on the team. And so, that might include some, younger 20-year-olds, for example, that are just sort of fresh out of school or in between school seasons and are looking to pursue summer career in the outdoors. Or it might be 30-plus-year-olds and beyond, even upwards to 50-plus instructors who've been doing it forever. An example is Beth Jones has been teaching moving water canoeing, and she's a canoe instructor. She might even be an instructor trainer for like 20 years, and she does. Yeah, she does it all the time, and she'll come up and always carve time aside for the co-op. She's going to be with us at the Outdoor Adventure Show.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Cool. Do they all offer the same enthusiasm that you have?
Everybody plays to their strengths, and I don't know. I think I've been told that I've got an endless well to pour from, but you know what? David, who commented earlier, David Laidlaw, I think he was the first comment. His instructor was Finn, and Finn's actually here. I'll see if I can get him over here. Finn, you should come say hi. He's watching in the back room. He's outfitting boats right now, but he's the chillest guy you can ever think of. He's like, "Hi, nice to see you."
I'll let you introduce. How you doing, Finn? Welcome to Canoehounds Outdoor Adventure Show, Finn. It's Finn, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, cool. Well, what is Paddlers Co-op to you, man?
Oh, well, I've been working here for a few years now, and honestly, like Ryan always says, it's a great community. I love seeing so many students come through, and I love seeing them come back. It's always pretty rewarding, I find, in work when I see people like what they did and come back for more. It's a great place to be. Lots of people all around.
Cool. Remember this face because you might see him, maybe early summer or something, right? When the mosquitoes are out is when I'm coming. So that's awesome. So how long have you been with Paddler Co-op?
I believe I'll be going into my 4th season this year. I started volunteering here when I was just 15. Immediately loved the place. Came back the next summer to start actually working once I had a little bit more experience, and have been coming here every summer since.
That's cool. So it's you build kind of a big family type of deal there, eh? With not only with the people that you work with or you're associated with, but the people that come in, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super nice to work with some of the same people for years now, and having new instructors come in. That's another part of the community here for sure.
Yeah. And are you an open boat paddler or a closed boat paddler?
I mostly kayak, but I've done a little bit of open boating as well. But I instruct more of our kayak courses here.
Alrighty. Well, okay. Maybe you won't be teaching me because I'm an open boat guy. But awesome. Thanks for popping in, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Cool.
Cheers, man. Finn will be running the place in about 5 or 10 years. Don't you worry.
The new executive director, right?
Yeah, it's unreal. I showed him once how to outfit a boat. Next thing I know, like our whole new fleet is outfitted, and it's just like, my gosh, yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, we're really privileged with some talented instructors for sure.
Excellent. So as I mentioned, we have 2 people in the basement there. I'm going to bring them both up at the same time, but before I do that, I just want to thank Santa Miloschek, who gifted 10 memberships earlier on. Just wanted you to know that I did see that. Thank you very much. You made a lot of people happy. I think that's going to be his new nickname is Santa Miloschek. So that's all right. Thanks, Christian. Let's see here in the basement. We have a past guest from a few weeks back there, Steve Evans, and of course Riley outside, who's been on panel before at various times. Hello, y'all. How you doing?
Dennis, it's so good to see
Riley.
you. Hey, Ryan.
Very good. Very good. Nice to see you, Riley. Nice to see you, Ryan.
Nice to see you, Steve.
So I'm going to start with Riley. Riley, you put me in contact with Ryan, And it was because I wanted to actually have you on the show at one point. And you very unselfishly or graciously said that, you know what, can we get Paddler Co-op on here because we could learn a lot from this. So first off, thank you for that referral. It does go a long way. But you are an advocate. You're a board member, as I could see on screen there. Tell us about your role with Paddler Co-op and why it means so much to you.
Yeah. I'd love to tell you a little bit of how I got onto the board, if that's good with you. I'll give you a bit of the long-winded story here. I did my first backcountry canoe trip way back in 2017, which I guess is only 7 years ago. That's how long I've been paddling, just 7 years. And that trip was up in Temagami. And the outfitter that we rented canoes from mentioned that they do whitewater trips down the Sturgeon River. So immediately I was sold. But I was barely a paddler at the time. Like I said, first backcountry canoe trip. So I knew if I was going to be paddling rapids, I wanted to be safe and I wanted to have the skills to do it. So I looked up the Paddler Co-op and a couple other places in the area. The Paddler Co-op ended up being the most reasonable price. And a friend and I signed up to do our level 1 whitewater because the co-op, you can get certified there as well. And like if something has a piece of paper attached to it, I'm going to pay a little extra for that. Absolutely. So the instructors there were absolutely amazing. And the co-op was so laid back and casual and like super accommodating with me because I was absolutely terrified of rapids. But we were signed up to do that trip down the Sturgeon River in a couple of weeks. So I was going to get back in that boat and learn those skills, even if I was petrified. We did the trip in June. The boats were shit. The adrenaline was so high. And the whole experience of that trip just seemed elevated. There's nothing more different and unique than getting to paddle down a river and do a whitewater trip. Like getting to see that river in fast current, knowing or not knowing what to expect like around the corner. And I'm so glad that I had taken a course at Paddler Co-op first, because then I was just able to like enjoy that feeling of adrenaline. And there's nothing better than having the skills to look at a rapid and say to yourself, oh, yeah, I can navigate that rapid, or like, oh no, that's not a navigable rapid. I have to portage around this. So after doing that trip, I went back to the Paddler Co-op and I said, like, how can I get more involved in this? I want to be connected to this whole whitewater thing. So I do digital marketing for clients. Like I specialize in social media, email, PPC, SEO, a bunch of other acronyms. And at that time, it was pretty obvious that I would be a great addition to the board of directors. So it's been almost 5 years and I still haven't let them go.
Wow, that long, huh? That's because my first involvement with Paddler Co-op is what you introduced. You put out to a bunch of people through social media saying, hey, I'm trying to get a group together to go to Paddler Co-op. Who wants to go, right? And I was right in, like I said, didn't work out, but I sure wish it had have. But
this spring, we're getting it on, Dennis.
Yeah. So you say you had a fear of whitewater, and now are you one of them converted? Like for you, you go seeking whitewater over flat water now?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm more of a river tripper in my backcountry now. There's nothing like taking a shuttle or driving yourself to point A and getting down to the other side of the river at point B and doing that connection. It feels like a totally different trip than getting out there and doing a loop, or getting out there and just sitting on one lake and coming back. And you see so much more diversity. Like you might know, we did the Mississippi last year, and just seeing the entire place change from point A to point B because you're on the river and you get to experience that connectivity of it. It's just awesome. But honestly, Dennis, I'm still terrified of whitewater. Like I'm so scared of foot entrapments. I've been out there and I got my swiftwater rescue technician because I'm scared, and it's healthy to have this fear and it helps to have that adrenaline. And honestly, I'll probably always be like a class 2 paddler, maybe like the odd class 3 here and there, but that's what makes it adventurous. And having this slow growth of getting to know the rivers like slowly over a long period of time is honestly my blessing, because I watched some of these paddlers out there who are like 2 years into their paddling careers and they're already doing waterfalls. Hey, Evan. And I'm like, no, I think I love the adrenaline of a little class 2 that somebody else is like, this is old hat. They don't get that same feeling from, right? So there's something to be said about moving slowly into something and just gaining that confidence over a long period of time. It's lovely. It really is.
Yeah, they say fear warrants respect, right? If
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have no
exactly.
fear, you run into danger.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Except for-
you have to have
except for
that that respect for the water, and that's awesome. That's totally awesome. Steve, we could get you to unmute now.
Yes,
There we
sir.
go.
How are you?
Hey, good. Long time no see.
Yeah.
Your series that you did, Tuk Tuk Nugait. Did I say that right? I probably didn't.
Tuk Tuk No Gate. Yeah.
Nugait. Okay.
Yeah.
I throughout that whole series, which I was glued to, I really I admired your whitewater skills in a pack boat, and here only to come to find out that you learned a lot of your whitewater skills in a pack boat through Paddler Co-op. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I was actually talking to Ryan earlier this week. So Ryan has basically taught me everything I know, to be honest. And it's actually kind of funny, Dennis, that if you think I'm actually skilled, because Ryan, if you ask him, is when you see the level of water that Ryan and the certified instructors that Paddlers Co-op can run, it is terrifying. I have a very similar experience, probably like Riley. The first time Ryan took me down the lower Madawaska, I was terrified, like absolutely terrified on like all the rapids. And now, 10 years later, whatever it is, it's actually just super fun. It's like a roller coaster. But my story goes, and I think it's important that the people in the chat and everybody here knows how welcoming Paddlers Co-op is. So I did an expedition, it doesn't really matter, to Patagonia, and got myself in a little bit of a trouble in a kayaking trip. And I can't remember how I came across Paddlers Co-op, but somebody had said to me, you might want to get some whitewater training. And I know there was a question, actually, Ryan, there's probably one waiting for you about people who are like uninstructed, like self-taught. That's how I was for years. And I met Ryan, I want to say 10 years ago. I think Ryan's 29, so he was 19, and I was like, I was 37 maybe, and I had this 19-year-old guy, like he's going to train me on whitewater. And there's a level of, I don't know if naivety, you're like naive. You don't understand how strong water can be. So you're foolish, like throwing yourself down it. And I met Ryan, and I told him I wanted to do some other trips. We looked at the rivers. This is what Paddlers Co-op will do for you. They will look at the rivers. You mentioned the Nahanni. There's all these big rivers out there. They're intimidating. You don't want to portage them. They will train you to do this. And that's what Ryan did for a couple trips I did back in the day, even for the last one in the summer, Dennis, to Tuk Tuk No Guide. I ran some big water with Ryan early spring last year. Ryan and Linda, I accused them of trying to kill me on the middle Madawaska. But it's so that's basically how my whitewater career started, is going to Ryan and the Paddlers Co-op, telling them there's some big rivers I want to do. I don't want to portage, and they will absolutely train you. And the one good thing I really want to stress this is Ryan, and I keep saying Ryan because I know him so well, but I'm sure all the instructors, they can watch you paddle for 10, 15 minutes and get a really good feel for your capabilities. So they are like so in tune with when you should not run something and when you should. This is going back to what Riley said. Like, part of this training is knowing when to walk a rapid. Like you don't want to go down a river and just send it and think you're going to be okay, because there's foot entrapments, there's holes, there's strainers, there's all this stuff. Walking is the best thing to do, and Paddlers Co-op will tell you when you're supposed to do it and when you shouldn't. That's the reality. And that's what makes these big river trips safe and fun.
Mm-hmm. When you were doing your big trip up in Tuk Tuk, there did you look at rapids differently? Like, did you look at them and say, heck, man, that looks like it could be out of my comfort? Like, you were reading the rapids really well in your video. You were talking about them, saying, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to go down there. Did that skill set really come from Paddler Co-op, or was it something that you had to train yourself along the way too?
Well, I think it's a combination. You get kind of like your in-class training from Paddlers Co-op, and then there's seat time, right? There's So I want to cover two things. I actually told Ryan after the trip, like if Ryan was with me on that trip, I would have ran every single rapid, 100%. And Ryan would have done the same. It would have been no big deal for him. Ryan is like a class 5 paddler. The rapids that Ryan can run and the instructors are things that you would be absolutely terrified to run in real life. So if Ryan was with me, and you got to understand, Ryan is like he's not just like has some time in a kayak. He's like a certified whitewater river technician instructor. He's I don't even know the words because he's like a PhD in paddling. So if he was with me, and I told him we would have ran everything together. But there's the training and then there's the seat time. When you live, Ryan lives next to the Middle Mad, not too far. You know, when you're running rapids 5 days a week, 4 hours a day, sort of thing, that's how you get that good, right? That's experience, and that's why, just to kind of round it off, like when I was reading the rapids up in the Arctic, one, I'm alone, so it's a whole different story. But two, like Ryan has taught me when I should do stuff and when I shouldn't. You know, that's the reality.
Cool. So now you know this initiative, both Riley and Steve, you both know the initiative that obviously is going on with Paddler Co-op. What would you advise people the best way to help with what their goals that they're trying to accomplish? Do you have anything that you could add to that, Riley?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the reasons I'm so passionate about the Paddler Co-op is that, like, they truly strive for diversity and provide accessibility on the river. And like, some of you may know the recent history around river access, but river access itself is so controversial, and everybody has a legal right to be on the water. But if you can't access the water, or if you have to pay to access the water, then that's taking away your access to paddling and your access to nature. So actually, Ryan, I don't know if you talked about a little, or can you talk about a little, like what's happening in the area around Palmer Rapids? Like, what's the public access look like? What are the changes there? Who has access to the river right now? Like, how that's provided to people?
Yeah. Good point, Riley. Yeah. So basically, there's a 66-foot right-of-way on the shoreline of most waterways in Ontario. And we take this for granted because there's so much space relative to the rest of the world. There's certainly relative to points further south in Ontario that we, drive a couple hours out of the city and there's sort of endless wilderness and crown land. But the reality is these places that we love to visit are only getting more and more populated. And these precious resources are getting more scarce. And to give a couple examples, there's a massive organization that has dozens of full-time pro bono lawyers in America called American Whitewater, that their sole mandate is to preserve and increase access to paddling in the States. And they do a phenomenal job. Like, we're talking phenomenal. They coordinate dam releases. They purchase property. They set up land trusts. They do riverside cleanups. They do education. They host the largest whitewater paddling festival in the world, Golly Fest, where there's like 5,000 people that come down to Somersville, West Virginia, to participate. They're organized because they've lost their access. The places that they've known and loved are gone. And so they've had to figure out how, as dirtbags on the side of the river that just want to fall down things in plastic, or float down, to find a way to access or regain access to some places. And that started happening here. The Ottawa River, for example. I don't know if people are familiar with what's happened with the takeout of the public takeout of the Ottawa River, the most popular whitewater rafting section in Canada. The capital whitewater river that we have. The private the put in and take out parking and river access is owned by private entities, and the put in is owned by people who care about community, owl rafting, the Van Wyck family, who care about making sure that people have the opportunity to get to the river. And the takeout is owned by another rival company that 4 or 5 or 6 years ago at some point decided, you know what, we're just going to stop providing takeout access and start charging people. And the next year they doubled the charge. And the next year they doubled the charge again. And everybody got up in arms because they took for granted what they had for free previously. And then a paywall was put in front of it. And then they were no longer able to access it or to access it affordably. And we risk having the same thing happen here. There's an initiative going on at the Ottawa River, but what we're realizing is that same story can play out here in Palmer Rapids. There are literally thousands, if not tens of thousands, of people that paddle down the Madawaska every year, and so many people, it's their first whitewater experience that they'll ever have. So it's a vital component of the paddling scene, and it's very often one of the first river trips that people will do in Ontario. There's Jessup's Campground, which is owned privately on the other side, who, even since before the co-op was existing, was allowing paddlers to access. There's Pine Point, which was previously owned by the Ministry of Natural Resources on the same side of the river that we're on. The Jessup's Campground has been passed down to one generation, and reportedly that generation is preparing to sell. Because frankly, it doesn't necessarily pay the bills, and it's a full-time job to collect camping fees from people dropping in for day use or for overnight. And on this side of the river, the M&R property, we recently learned, is actually Ontario Power Generation property. And the signs that used to say historic site of the town of Palmer Rapids, public access, were cut down recently, and new signs put up saying this is private property. Members of the public are allowed to use it if they obey the following rules: no camping, pack out your garbage, no bonfires, a couple other reasonable things. But then it says failure to do so will result in loss of privilege to accessing this property. And that was kind of a punch in the gut the first time I saw that, realizing that, you know, the place that we know and love is at stake here. And on Monday this past week, there was actually a meeting where one of our neighbors and instructors here at the co-op, Tony, shout out to Tony, probably taught some of you in the chat, attended, and he met the person who's responsible for Ontario Power Generation for looking after the site at Palmer Rapids. And he said, you know what, we have no problem keeping things the way they are, but there's a couple things that need to happen. People have to stop camping there. And unfortunately, teenagers or people wanting to get to the river and, you know, save a few bucks in a night, camp there and trash the place. And we go back the next day with garbage bags and clean it up, keep doing it, and call the cops if they're, you know, getting boisterous or whatever. And people also just leave litter. They just leave trash there. And it sucks. And the person said, you know what, if that happens, that can't happen. If that happens, we're going to have cement post up in the driveway like that. He's like, we've got the equipment to install that kind of thing. And, you know, that's it. That's it for getting in there. So it shows us the importance of having a space by paddlers for paddlers on the river, because it's possible, you know, the other family with private interests could sell out and, you know, somebody puts up a gate and that's it. Or, you know, they build 2 large $1 million cottages and that's it.
Yep. It only takes one person to ruin it for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Let's. I just want to bring up another guest here on panel who actually popped up last week. He's getting to be a regular on the show more than that Kevin Callan fella. Evan Lefebvre. How you doing, Evan? Now, I know, Evan, you took some courses through Paddler Co-op, and I think you're part of your presentation next week at the Outdoor Adventure Show might be a little bit on that.
Definitely, yeah.
Give us a little highlight. What's your passion for the co-op?
Well, I think everyone might be able to relate with me on like my coolest intro to this, you know, environment and community and organization. Basically, I started watching Northern Scavengers, probably like a lot of you guys, just watching stuff on YouTube and getting that itch, like I got to try some whitewater stuff out. And I ended up taking one of the solo canoe courses with my dad and my girlfriend Phoebe. So the three of us took a course with Taylor Farquhar. And that must have been like, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago or something now. And it was just such a great course. It started off with like, you know, jumping into the rapids, like Ryan was saying. It was just like this feeling I was not ready for, but in a good sense. Like I was just, it was really cold because it's May, like Palmer Fest in the in the May time is kind of chilly, so I was a little bit anxious. But they had wetsuits that you can rent, and so just with that and the community and everything, it just it turned out into a really great experience. And I've been coming back for every festival since. So there's a festival in the springtime and a festival in the fall time, and I just haven't been able to stop going.
Cool. And why is that? It's just the good times, or you're trying to learn more and more and more, right?
Yeah, just great times, great people to be around. There's just so many opportunities there. You know, now that I've been there so often, I feel like I know that river so well that I try paddling backwards through it and stuff sometimes. And I got to try pack raft for the first time with Steve, like just in that was November, December, whatever it was. Like just getting to learn this this spot. I was there during high water. I remember seeing Ryan when we saw the river at like, you were saying it was at 180 or something. It was bigger than I'd ever even imagined it being there. And me and Ben Beauchamp were practicing some of our paddling in the outflow of it. It was just so many memories, so many great times. It's been so great for me physically to get out there, and just, yeah, all the good things for your soul, so I couldn't advocate for this place more.
Why did it take you so long to get into paddling, Evan? You said you've only been doing this a few years now.
For whitewater specifically, I've been like canoeing since I was young with my dad, just going out fishing and camping and stuff. But we were always flat water, never on anything moving, not even really swifts or anything like that. And it was only until Phoebe and I took a trip in Algonquin where we were kind of on the little Madawaska, and it was just like tiny little swifts going through a creek, and we were just having a blast ripping through it. And I think that just like started our itch for like moving water. It was like, whoa, I can move twice as fast with one paddle stroke. That's crazy, man. Like, so ever since, it's been really exhilarating. I like skiing. I like all kinds of outdoor sports and activities and stuff. And this one, just like, I love getting out on the water, all of the things like Riley had mentioned, the waterfalls earlier. It's like, when I was first starting out, I had people who were into shooting waterfalls asking me to go paddling. I was just not having any of it. My mom would just not be there for that.
Evan, can you remind us the name of your showcase at the Outdoor Adventure Show this weekend?
So the name of my presentation, so it's going to be how I went from flat water to sending waterfalls in 2 years. So yeah, it's definitely there's going to be lots of name drops from for the paddler co-op there, and the Madawaska River has just become such a dear place to my heart. That's for sure.
Hey, Dennis, Evan, sorry, just quickly, it might be worth mentioning that I think your story is not unlike anyone else's. Like, if you haven't tried whitewater, you might not understand how fun it can be. Because when you driving down the road and there's like, it's a rainstorm and you look at the river and you see all these raging rapids and you're so scared of it, you take a course at Paddler Co-op, and you gotta understand, I mean, me and Evan are going on a trip. Actually, so is Ryan later on this year. These guys are 17 years younger than me. You know what I mean? But I mean, like, I didn't get into it until I was 35-ish, right? Like, older than both you guys now. And I can't tell you how addictive it is. Like, if you liked Canada's Wonderland when you were younger, honestly, and you want to do something that has no lineups and is a million times more fun, hit up Paddler's Co-op and run the Lower Madman. There's nothing like it. It's very, very fun.
Man, you guys keep talking because I'm like getting more and more excited.
Well, hold on. So one more thing. Because I'm older than everybody probably is, don't let age be a factor. I'm being serious. The co-op is very welcoming. Ryan knows this. Like, when I met Ryan, he was 19 years old. He was probably like, look, who's this old fart? And I was like 36 at the time or something like that. but there's this balance of there's skill and then there's like agility. So sure, you might not be able to do backflips with a play boat on like a class 5 wave, but skill wise, and even talking to Ryan's wife, Linda, even the last time we were paddling, she generally paddles with, she told me, people in her 70s that have the days off and stuff like that, right? And a lot of those rivers, the lower Mad, the middle Mad, short of the upper Mad or even the lower Pet, maybe that has like some bigger stuff, you're running most class 3-4s, no problem. Yeah. If you got the skills, you can do it.
I want to echo that because a couple of the guys that I met on one of my courses were 72 and 78. Shout out to Mark. He's probably not here, but 78 years old. You can take a course like this as long as you're, mobile enough to get out there, do it.
That's
Hey, Steve, I'm 29. Steve, how old are you?
Yeah, earlier,
just a year older, Dennis. Just a year older. 30.
I wish I was back there. Oh,
I hear it's really.
I forgot to say 29, 30. But that's we just had somebody else.
I was just
had somebody else pop into the basement here. I'd love to bring up. Sorry, Evan, go ahead.
I was just going to say, my dad was, 62 years old, and he was sending it down there, and we're still, that was like 2 years ago, so shout out to him. And even Paul Mason, my man Paul Mason, could do backflips behind all of us here, and he's going on like mid-60s, so aging a factor for us.
Cool, awesome. I'd like to welcome to the chat here. We got Craig. How you doing, Craig?
Hey, how's it going?
Excellent. Got a question for the panel or a story to share about Paddler Co-op?
Hi, Craig.
I just thought I'd echo what everyone's been saying. I've had a similar story to Evan, but a little over a year ago, I'd never even heard of the co-op. And last year I made it out there 3 different times. I actually had Beth Jones, who Ryan mentioned earlier, for a flatwater course last year. And she was in this like little solo banana boat that I'd never seen before. And I asked about 1 million questions about whitewater on a flatwater course and probably got everyone annoyed. But next thing you know, I was taking a whitewater course with her. And then I found out about the Paddler Co-op and did a solo open boat course. Then went back for Palmerfest and then went back for Swiftwater. And my kind of goal was to meet just all the paddlers I could. And I'm at a point now, really because of the Paddler Co-op, that at any given time, I've got a group of people I can go paddle with. The last 4 weekends, I've paddled with people, all of which, for the most part, I think I've met through the Paddler Co-op. So I can just vouch for the community that it brings together and the people that you can meet. That really goes a long way. And of course, the skills that you get through the courses there. So I just wanted to echo that because it was a really great place and I met a lot of great people and we'll continue to meet people going there.
So you've become a part of their community, and it's a welcoming feeling, isn't it?
Definitely. Oh yeah, for sure. I think one of the first people I met there was actually Ryan, and the big smiling face comes running out to welcome and greet me, and he's one of those people that kind of remembers everybody's name, or at least it seems like that. So, after a 5-minute interaction and my next visit, oh, hey, Craig, welcome back. Nice to see you again. So a very personable place, really great staff and volunteers.
Ryan, I see a job at Walmart in your future. Eh? You're like the Walmart greeter, right?
That's it. Yeah, I make everybody feel at home. That's my mission. Craig, that was a great story. Thanks for sharing, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, awesome.
Stick around for a minute, Craig. Ryan, I wanted to ask you. So right now we're in winter season, right? We haven't had much of a winter. What does Paddler Co-op do through the off season of winter, or is there an off season for you guys with a moving body of water?
Well, personally, we were paddling a week and a half ago.
Right.
No, but actually, we just launched our first ever winter program. February 9th, 10th, 11th, we had a group of scouts come up to do some hot tenting and snowshoeing and cross-country skiing. And they base camped at Paddler Co-op. And we teamed up with Frontenac Outfitters to set them up with some awesome tents and basically the ability to explore the valley at a time of year where previously, they would have never seen this place. So it was super awesome. We did a day of cross-country skiing with them on Saturday where we kind of taught them all how to, use the equipment and stuff like that, and then went out to our local ski club and ripped the trails there. And Set them up with some sort of trailhead directions and maps to be able to explore some of the coolest lookouts. And they walked down to the rapids and saw the rapids in the wintertime and got excited about that. So that's been our sort of latest venture in the winter. Which is really exciting. And outside that, a lot of planning, a lot of sort of strategizing and a bit of hibernating, some time off after the busy season.
But you're always preparing for the next season, obviously. Or in this case now, for the new initiative you have going on, right? So,
there's always something to keep me busy for sure. And the team. There's 2 of us throughout the year now, and we're welcoming a 3rd team member on here in a couple weeks. So, yeah, it's super busy. Shout out to Carrie as well. If you've been communicating with the co-op, you've been probably communicating to Carrie. And she's the glue that holds our services together, for sure.
Excellent. So what have we missed? Have we missed anything? Is there any other courses? Like, is it just strictly paddling courses that you're offering, or are there any other courses that you might offer?
Yeah, so specifically, pretty much everything's tailored to paddling. I mean, we've got like, I guess maybe the one area we haven't explored is like tripping. We'll do like custom trips for people. People want to get set up to do like a lower mad trip with family or whatever. We'll do that. We'll do the Des Moines. We'll do the Petawawa. We've got a really cool trip that might appeal to the audience here for teens. Our top level teen program. We're just launching it this year. It's called Teen Adventure. It's a 14-day trip with 2 days of training on the MAD. And then they get dropped off in the northwest corner of Algonquin Park. And they lake hop into the Petawawa River system and then cross the Petawawa. So they're learning whitewater skills as well as doing some pretty epic portaging. So they'll spend 12 days in the park going across all the way. So we'll do sort of custom trips and stuff like that. And
you had also mentioned that earlier too about scout troops and stuff like that. I know we do have some scouters in the chat. What type of programs do you offer for scout groups, Cubs? Is there age limits there?
Yeah, so we'll typically teach as young as 7 years old. We're potentially going to get into like a little bit of like a forest day camp sort of vibe for younger than that. But generally speaking, as far as like paddling courses and trips go, sort of ages 10 and up is a great range to do that. 11 and 12 and up is even better. And a lot of the courses that we'll do with scouts is offering sort of just like day certifications. So we actually worked with one of the scouts troops in Nepean. I know there's some specific numbers and like names, and I'm not going to get it right, so I'm not going to say it. But Dave Skinner has been an awesome organizer on that end, where we actually sort of like wrote a curriculum with scouts, with, our expertise and their approval and that sort of thing for Whitewater 1 and Whitewater 2 certifications in canoe and kayak. So they'll come up for 2 days and take sort of an introductory level course or an intermediate level course. And then for other groups, we'll do sort of multi-day trips. So like 1 day of training at Palmer and then head down the Lower Mad, where we literally launch from the dock here and go down on a 3-night canoe trip down the Madawaska River through the provincial park and everything to the town of Griffith. So yeah, a bit of everything.
I think that one thing you missed, Ryan, is that there's also some courses that relate to swiftwater rescue. Like there's a whole bunch of people chatting about it in the chat. Swiftwater rescue and first aid as well.
Good call. Yeah, absolutely. So certification courses. Thanks, Riley. This is why we keep Riley around. No, I'm just kidding. They more than pull their weight. So we'll offer certification courses for the industry. So I mentioned our instructors are certified in river rescue, first aid, and instructor certification. So we'll offer all of those courses. So I not only teach people how to paddle, I teach people how to teach people how to paddle as a certified instructor trainer in moving water canoe and kayak. And so we'll provide courses where, experienced intermediate level paddlers can learn how to teach paddling and provide certification courses. We'll also instruct river rescue courses here where people can learn how to stay safe in the rapids, and then also host wilderness first aid courses for people going on remote trips that want to be able to be confident with, first aid situations, or again, for guides in the industry to be able to sort of have the credentials necessary to work as either a guide or an instructor or a trip leader.
Hey, Ryan, I got a question for you. Would it be true to say that as your whitewater skills improve and you get additional training, you should also get swiftwater rescue and first aid? They kind of go hand in hand. You wouldn't want to be a class 5 paddler with no swiftwater rescue experience. Is that true?
I think that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you don't want to put the cart before the horse, but you can get into some serious trouble in class 3. You can get into serious trouble in class 2, to be totally honest with you. But a lot of people look at it as a benign, set of circumstances. But if you're paddling or, aspiring to paddle class 3 or above, like 110%, a river rescue course is so worth it. Like, there's too many people. I'm just going to be blunt here. It might be a little bit morbid, but there's too many people who have died on rivers from preventable incidents because they weren't educated or weren't prepared, where the world of river rescue will teach you that. And it doesn't need to happen. Or instead of being a helpless bystander, you can be an engaged rescuer, supporter kind of thing.
And when does Paddlers Co-op offering the first? I'm like leading you into this. Eh?
I didn't pay him, okay?
No, and this is good. So I have a bunch of experience. Ryan had a chat with me the other day. He's like, might be time to step up the swiftwater rescue. So I think you can correct me. Paddlers Co-op is offering 5-day court, 2-day and 5-day court, or day 2-4 or something like that. I don't know exactly when it is.
Yeah. So we offer rescue courses like 3 times a year. There's 2 types. We'll just be simple. I'll say there's the recreational certification, and then there's a technician level certification. The recreational certification is a 2-day course, and it'll get your feet wet in the world of rescue. You'll learn how to swim really well. You'll learn how to use a throw bag really well. You'll learn how to set up anchors to unpin boats, or set up mechanical advantage systems to use sort of high tension lines in a non-high angle, meaning nobody's like floating or getting pulled, through the sky. Low angle setting, basically to get yourself up or down steep slopes on the side of a river, not canyon walls, and to unpin boats that get stuck on rocks, generally speaking, and to also set up tension lines across the river to be able to transport people or goods across the river. You'll learn all that in kind of a class 2 context, an entry level sort of context.
Got it. I think Evan, you did the course with them, right? Like not long ago.
I did that course with Boreal Rescue, which I think
Ryan teaches for. I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
was Ryan? Was Ryan your instructor?
I wish, man. That would have been awesome. Yeah, because when you're doing those kinds of things, I think it's really important to have like a really good energy. And yeah, man, like everyone's been saying, Ryan's just got that great energy about him, and so it would be nice to have that, because I know throughout my course I was just trying to, I'm one to like kind of dance, a little bit of dancing here and there and stuff. So it's not for everybody, but I think Ryan's got the good vibes.
And right there is a segue to ask Ryan. Ryan, you mentioned earlier you're a musician. Will you play? You sing? What do you?
I try. My trouble is I try to do it all, but I've settled on mostly playing guitar and singing.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to see what those warm up exercises before lead to, come and join us at Palmerfest this springtime.
I was just gonna say, are you the Kumbaya leader around the group campfire at the campground?
A little bit. We've done some good sing-alongs before. I don't know. Like the energy at Palmerfest has been unlike any show I've ever played at times, or any gathering I've ever been. It's pretty remarkable. But yeah, we do some sing-alongs. But yeah, our band, the Valley Cats, which Tony, for those of you in the chat that know Tony as an instructor, or Joe, if we're reaching a little further back, who I think was paddling the first day we ever saw each other, Steve, way back, are also musicians, and then a few other river folk. And we'll be playing as one of the bands on the Saturday night. And I just saw a question in the chat: what's the spring Paddle Fest, or when's the spring Paddle Fest? So Palmer River Festival is on May long weekend, which this year is Friday, May 17, 18, 19. People are arriving sort of all day Friday. We're going to have a live band on the Friday night, which is pretty cool. We're going to have some presentations in the boathouse, which is going to be pretty cool. which we've never done before. We've always just kind of had a chill, subdued evening. And then the real action starts Saturday and Sunday. There's clinics for all ages and abilities. There's going to be vendors. We're going to have Frontenac Outfitters, NRS. There's going to be a huge party. It's going to be the official final push for our fundraiser, which is super awesome. Which, by the way, we need to raise a bunch of funds by May, and we need to raise all of the funds by July. So if you're thinking about it, get after it. We would love to see that needle increase. And Palmerfest is going to be the kind of awesome celebration of we're almost there.
I don't know who's been busy out there tonight, but thank you to everybody who's watching this, because I just checked the fundraiser page and there's already $450 in there. And it makes me almost emotional to think of, because we worked so hard on this campaign.
No crying on the show, Riley.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, wow.
Okay. You know what? We got about 5 minutes left here, and we got a bunch of questions that I didn't get up on panel. So just want to mention Steve, Riley, Evan, Craig, if you want to stick around for the green room, please do. Okay. I'll even leave you on screen right now while I post these questions, and then I'll drop you all down in the green room to finish the show. But I just want to rapid fire questions here. Okay, Ryan?
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Me. Okay. First question from way back early from Richard West. What drop can you expect with Palmer Rapids, class and length? Thanks.
Class 2, one section that's 75 meters long, one section that's 300 meters long. Oh, that's not bad.
Evan was ready for that. Awesome.
He's hyped.
From Tim Good, who you were on with the other day. Why can't I find merch to buy on your website?
Because we're too busy running a campaign, Tim. Actually, because, we're a grassroots organization. We're just getting our act together and we're actually setting up a live store right now, but it's coming. Stay tuned. You too could be the proud owner of one of these awesome pieces of merchandise, including stickers, including hats. Yeah.
Man, I got to hook you up with this really cool sticker guy I know. Always don't have that plug in there. Let's see here. We got from Untamed Ontario. Do self-taught whitewater paddlers with an audience do a disservice?
Only if you're promoting hazardous or unsafe practices and not educating people about the risks that they're taking.
Makes sense, because there are a lot of skilled paddlers out there that probably never had a course in a day in their lives, right? So cool. Untamed Ontario once again. Wait. Ta-da. Okay, never mind. We just answered that one. So that was an important question. Same question again. But what are the biggest obstacles keeping flatwater paddlers from transitioning to whitewater?
Access to education and your limiting beliefs about what you can and can't do.
Got to get yourself on that fine edge, right?
Explore the comfort zone with somebody that you trust and feel safe with.
Okay. Untamed Ontario is on fire tonight. What are the biggest hazards facing paddlers that attempt whitewater without adequate experience?
I would say the risk of drowning being less severe than that. The risk of having a negative experience that could turn you and others off for good because you just didn't have the right information and education or people pointing you in the right direction to have success.
Mm-hmm. What about in a tripping situation?
Oh man.
Yeah, right.
That plus the remoteness, the gear laws. Yeah, where do we go from there? No, for sure. I mean, the same thing compounded by, being in the middle of the woods, basically.
Okay. And last but not least, from Robert in the outside, do you feel it's vital to take a rescue course as well as a whitewater course for a better understanding of the water? Right along the lines of what Steve was talking about.
If you know that you are enjoying paddling in a river, paddling moving water, and that it's something that you want to continue to do,
all right,
it's a pretty important next step. It's gonna be a good tool for the quiver, I think.
Yeah. Okay. And we got to take one question from good old Kevin Callan, of course, here, because it's the very last question I see. Is river or whitewater tripping increased in the last couple of years compared to Bill Mason days?
That's a great question. And the thing is, we prepare people for their trips, guided or self-guided, on, you know, the bigger rivers. So I feel like I can only comment from the like entry level to that realm, and for what we've been doing, it certainly seems to be on the rise at the co-op for the services we offer in the last number of years. That being said, a company like Blackfeather or Jack Pine or MHO might be able to better answer that question as far as understanding how many people are actually getting out there, or, you know, national parks services for the permits they're issuing, for example. But we're certainly seeing an uptick in that, and especially from the lake water to moving water sort of realm. Great question. Thanks, Kevin.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I'm going to thank Steve, Riley, Evan, and Craig for jumping up here on panel with us tonight. And we're going to close the show out. Once again, you four, make sure you stick around for green room here. So don't go away when I drop you down, and we'll see you in a few short minutes. All righty. Well, Ryan, you know what? It's been a great pleasure to have you on the show telling us about Paddler Co-op, all the things that you offer. I think it's a great thing that you're doing for the paddling community. And I really do have my fingers crossed and hope that you'll reach the goals of your initiative to keep the adventures alive.
You got it. Thank you so much, Dennis. I can't express how grateful I am for you taking the time to have me share my story, relate the significance of the co-op to me and what we're trying to do here, and giving us and our fundraising efforts to secure access in Palmer Rapids a voice. Much appreciated.
Okay, and how can people find out more information on what we may have covered here? Website, socials, things like that.
Yeah, so paddlercoop.ca with the hyphen. Social media, we're on Facebook, Paddler Co-op, again hyphenated, and Instagram at Paddler Cooperative. We are also going to be providing most of our updates, or the kind of most in-depth updates about the fundraiser and the campaign, through email marketing. So you can head onto our website and sign up for our newsletter. And that's where we're sort of reaching out to people and giving them the more detailed updates. As well, I think you saw the link that was shared earlier for the fundraiser, Sweet Home Paddler Co-op. And there's an FAQ page on there. If you haven't seen it, there it is. If you haven't seen it at the very top, you can kind of click the FAQ to learn a little bit more. And again, just reach out. info@paddlercoop.ca if you want to fire off an email or get in touch with us directly.
For sure. And just so everybody knows, all the links to what Ryan has just said are in the description below, including the Home Sweet Paddler Co-op Raisley. By all means, please do check it out. If you can help, every little bit counts. Ryan will be at the Outdoor Adventure Show, as he mentioned, with Frontenac Outfitters, promoting Paddler Co-op. So you know what? If you happen to be at the show, stop by, say hello. And I'm sure he'll be more than happy to share enthusiastically all the information that he has. So that's great. Ryan, thanks very much for joining us tonight. And we'll see you on Saturday and Sunday.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Dennis. See you then.
See you in a short moment here. Thanks. All right. Hopefully everybody enjoyed tonight's show. Great show. I didn't really know what to expect with this show. By all means, you know me, I like to learn. And when I like to learn, I like to share my learnings with you. So with that being said, as I mentioned, I will be at the Toronto Outdoor Adventure Show this coming weekend. I'll be there Saturday and Sunday. If you're looking for me, I'll be hanging around for the most part around the paddling adventures and paddling stage, where I'll be doing a presentation at 3:30 on Saturday. And then right across from there, you'll find me at the Kid Products display. I'll be hanging out there. I have part of their booth at the end there. Everybody come on over, say hello, grab a sticker or two. And there's going to be a lot of great stickers because my print company's been doing all kinds of really cool decals over the last week for some really cool YouTubers and Instagrammers and people that have this, that, and the other thing. So by all means, bring your sticker collections with you. Anyways, we will see you next Tuesday evening. Stay posted for what we have going on. I'm still working on next week's show. And then the following week after that, we'll be doing a show. We'll be featuring none other than Maxim and Xander Budnick. And we're going to be finding out what them guys were like when they were little kids. So keep that on the calendar for March 5th. Anyways, have yourselves a great week, everybody. We'll see you hopefully this weekend at the Outdoor Adventure Show. And remember, please do keep the adventures alive.